The late sun caught the smooth contours of the Porsche 911 parked in our driveway, its ballet slipper pink color job shining like a bold signal. I had worked for 3 years to save up to buy that car, a gift from my wife, Dr. Lena Harris, on our 10th anniversary. We'd fought our way up from humble beginnings in Crestwood, a suburban neighborhood in Atlanta, me building a cybersecurity firm from scratch, Lena grinding through med school to become a pediatric neurosurgeon. That $160,000 car wasn't merely a luxury, it was a symbol of our sacrifices and a dream Lena had quietly shared for years. When she first laid eyes on it after a grueling hospital shift, tears of happiness rendered all that money worth it. Life was perfect for a week. Lena coasted to work, her smile radiating brighter than ever, as neighbors gave high fives and compliments. Everyone, that is, but the Whitmores. They'd settled into the giant colonial at the bottom of our street 6 months before. Cynthia Whitmore, who insisted on being addressed as Cindy, was wedded to Lawrence, a hedge fund manager rarely at home, but who financed Cindy's designer obsessions and their daughter Brooke's lavish tastes. My experience with them had been restricted to formal nods at best. Cindy's comments at block parties about the neighborhood changing always preceded a pointed stare at Lena and me. The only black pair on the block. Her 18-year-old daughter Brooke, newly graduated from high school, spent her days lounging around the pool or griping about settling for a state school after Ivy League rejection letters. Trouble started to brew 8 days after the Porsche had arrived. It was a Tuesday morning. I was adjusting my tie to pitch to a client when Lena had left her SUV at the hospital and left the Porsche in our garage. As I reversed out of my Lexus, I spotted Cindy and Brooke marching down the street in identical pastel-colored tracksuits, their faces set with resolute intent. "Mr. Marcus Reed," said Cindy, her tone dripping with sugary false sweetness. "Courtesy, we have to discuss that car." I checked my watch, 8:15 a.m., into my prep time. "Good morning, Cindy. What's the problem?" I asked, papering over my annoyance. Her tone was sugary, but her words sliced sharp. "That pink Porsche is the problem." Brooke moved forward, arms crossed. "It's my carer. It ought to be." I blinked, puzzled. "Your car?" Cindy leapt in, anxious to clarify. "Brooke's been asking for a pink Porsche for graduation. We've explained to everybody her dad promised her one, but it's on hold due to his business." Brooke scowled. "And now you got one in my same color. Now I'll be copying your wife when I get mine." I gazed, stunned. Was this teenager having a tantrum because Lena's vehicle stole her spotlight? "I'm sorry you feel that way," I said calmly, "but Lena's dreamed of this car for years. I saved for it as an anniversary present." Cindy's eyes flashed. "I find that hard to believe." My jaw clenched. "Excuse me," she smiled. "Those cars are expensive. It's surprising you could afford it." The insult stung like a slap, but I'd been hit by worse. "What are you implying, Cindy?" She shook her hand in dismissal. "Just that it's strange. Lawrence said Brooke's pink Porsche, and then you've got one. In a place like this? Like what?" I persisted. "You know what I mean." She shot back. "This is Crestwood, not wherever you're from." "You people," I echoed, voice lowered. "You people?" Brooke, irritated, interrupted. "Mom, make him sell it to me." "It's not right." Cindy stood up straight. "We'll pay a reasonable price. It would mean more to Brooke." I shook my head. "It's not for sale. Lena is a surgeon who saves children's lives. She earned this." "I have a meeting," I said, trying to wrap it up. Brooke's face turned red. She stamped her foot. "This isn't fair. Daddy says I get whatever I want. Nobody should have a nicer car than me, especially not her." Cindy's glare froze her, but I could see that the slur she almost spat was hiding just underneath. "Get off my property," I said. I watched as Cindy stood her ground firmly. "We're not going anywhere until you sell us that car." She drew in closer. "I bet you didn't acquire it legally anyway. The dealership might want to investigate that." The veiled threat was obvious, racial profiling in the guise of suspicion. Then Brooke lost it, spewing the slur she'd kept hidden, a word that seared like acid. Our neighbor, Mrs. Lynn, watered her roses, stopped in shock as she watched the whole scene. I rapidly took out my phone and pressed record. "Say that again," I said decisively. Cindy rushed to grab the phone, but I moved back. "You're on my land, spewing slurs. Get out of here, or this goes to the police and my attorney." Cindy went pale, but Brooke wailed, "Pink's my color." Everyone knows it. At last they left, Cindy spitting, "Lawrence will take care of this. He'll see about how you obtain that car." My hands trembled as I drove to my appointment. I phoned Lena to alert her. Startled, she consented we'd ignore them, trusting they'd leave us alone. We were mistaken. The following day, Lena received a note on her SUV at the hospital. "This car doesn't belong to you. Sell it or else." She preserved it, suspecting the Whitmores. By Friday, Lawrence himself showed up in our driveway. Shiny charm, expensive suit. "Marcus, let's talk man to man," he said, extending a hand. I disregarded it. "There's no problem. Your family's harassing us about Lena's car." He laughed, the pretended warmth wearing off. "Brooke's really into that particular model. I assured her I'd get one for her, but it's been held up. She's been a pest since seeing Lena's." "Not my problem," I replied. "Neither is your wife's racism." His smile stretched tighter. "Misunderstanding. I'll give you 20% more than what you paid. Gain for you, joy for Brooke." I shook my head. "It's Lena's anniversary present. Not for sale." His voice cooled the air. "I have contacts, hospital boards, police, county contracts. It'd be unfortunate if your store or Lena's position came under investigation." The blackmail was explicit. "That is a threat," I said, aware that my cameras had recorded every phrase. He stepped back, but the harm had been done. That evening, Lena took me through her record of occurrences and the note. We retained a lawyer, James Carter, suggested by a colleague. Monday, the tire of the Porsche was cut, pink as Brooks in lipstick, on the door. The police were indifferent, suggesting it was kids, apart from the clear perpetrator. The insurance adjuster questioned us suspiciously, and the body shop stalled repairs. Then my best client let me go, confessing Lawrence's pull on their board. Lena had an anonymous complaint made against her. Hospital professionalism was tried as the Whitmores used their network for weapons, but we didn't give in. 2 weeks later, the actual shock came. I was working at home when a tow truck arrived. 2 men, headed by a man named Mike, produced a court order for seizing the Porsche due to a controversy in Whitmore versus Reed. "This is crazy," I exclaimed. "We've never been sued." The order, signed by Judge Harold Grayson, a name Lawrence had discussed previously, appeared legitimate. Lena, having returned home from an unusual day off, was furious. "You're not taking my car," she informed Mike, grabbing the papers. "I spoke with James," she explained, "who instructed us to notify the tow operators on liability for illegal seizure." As we were disputing, Cindy and Brooke arrived, grinning. "Problem?" Cindy asked, gesturing with her own copy of the order. "The judge says, you hijacked our idea for Brooke's car. It belongs to us now." The lie was amazing. "They accused us of copying their order. We have receipts," I stated. "This is fraud." Cindy shrugged. "The judge doesn't see it that way. It's impounded pending the hearing." Mike, squirming, said he had to comply with the order. James arrived, verifying it was an ex parte order, issued without warning us, but effective until it was overturned. Lena stood in Cindy's face. "You think to intimidate us with your connections?" "I rescue children with cancer. This isn't finished." Brooke, unaware, snapped photos with the car as it was towed away, shrieking, "Pink's my color." James explained it was impounded, not hers, but Cindy assured Brooke it'd be theirs soon, referencing Judge Grayson's friendship. As the tow truck left, James outlined our fight: the order's irregularities, the judge's bias, and grounds for a countersuit. That night, Lena's calm resolve surprised me. "It's not about the car," she said. "It's their belief they can take what's ours because we're black. We're stopping them, for us and anyone else they target." Our dining room turned into a war room. James hired a private investigator, Elna Martinez, to investigate Grayson and the Whitmores. We compiled purchase receipts, security videos, and Mrs. Lynn's account of Brooke's slur. Neighbors. Neighbors reported Cindy's racist remarks at gatherings, and a hospital colleague, Dr. Shaw, revealed that his wife, who worked as a legal assistant at the Whitmore's firm, had discovered backdated documents claiming their Porsche order predated ours. Meanwhile, my banking contacts hinted that Lawrence's firm was under a fraud investigation, shedding light on his desperation to wield influence. Elena's report was scathing. Grayson and Lawrence were golfing pals, their families vacationing as a group, and Grayson's son was an employee at Lawrence's company. Cindy had even threatened to pull hospital donations to go after Lena. By Thursday, we had a hearing in front of Judge Maria Torres, who was notorious for tolerating no abusive procedure. The evening before, James was sent emails between Grayson and the Whitmore's attorney that established collusion, plus proof that their Porsche query followed ours. She also complained to the Bar Association, covered as a whistleblower. At court, the Whitmores sauntered in, Brooke in a fuchsia-colored dress, sneering. Judge Torres, sharp and severe, cross-examined their attorney, Mr. Bennett, about the ex parte order's weaknesses. "Where is the proof we swiped their idea?" I insisted. Bennett stuttered, presenting only the Whitmore's testimony. James laid out our timeline and damning emails, stunning the courtroom. Torres vacated the order, restored the Porsche to Lena, and issued the Whitmores with a restraining order. "Your husband has abused the law," she informed Cindy, who objected. "Do you know who my husband is?" Torres cut her off. "In my courtroom, only the law prevails." She sent the case to Ethics and Criminal Investigations. The Porsche returned by noon, but the Whitmore's fall was only just starting. Our $1.2 million harassment and defamation lawsuit went viral, fueled by Mrs. Lynn's TV appearance denouncing their racism, and Brooke's whiny blog entry. "Pink's my color, not theirs," crashed their PR. Grayson was put on leave, his decisions in question. Federal agents stormed Lawrence's office, where they found money laundering and tax evasion. His empire crumbled, sending the Whitmores to a condo as their assets froze. They paid us out our lawsuit for $750,000, made a public apology recognizing racial prejudice, and the community at last enjoyed justice. Lawrence later pled guilty and was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Brooke dropped out of college and ended up working retail, with no pink Porsche in sight. Meanwhile, Lena's Porsche became a local legend, earning her the nickname Pink Doc among the hospital kids. She now speaks out about resisting workplace intimidation, while I've introduced DEI training at my firm. Our foundation uses the settlement to fund STEM scholarships for underserved children. At a local meeting, a new anti-harassment ordinance passed in response to our struggle. I drove home in the Porsche, teasing that if the Whitmores had only appreciated the car, they'd still have their mansion. I chuckled. Greed had really exposed them for who they were. That pink vehicle, once a straightforward present, now serves as an overwhelming symbol of our struggle against injustice.